the way that you speak, the way that you look, the way that you act is who you become. Fuck the backup plan. Fuck thinking that I'm going to be in the same position in a year's time and that I'll be okay with it because things aren't that bad right now. That energy needs to leave the room. Every single time you've got knocked down, you got up and you kept fighting. Leverage your pain. Feel your pain. Lean into it. You can get to the point where you look at a picture of yourself and you're like, oh my God, is that me? Is that how I look?
You actually have to learn how to push yourself. You have to learn how to leverage the power of your decisions, and you've got to learn how to take action when you don't feel like it.
Welcome to the 1 in a Million podcast with me, your host, Millie Cvetkovic. This is your go-to destination for empowering conversations on mastering confidence in both body and mind. Hello and welcome back to the 1 in a Million podcast, first solo episode of 2025. And let me tell you, I feel like there is something in the water, in the air, the type of energy coming into this year feels very, very much so magical. And it's not just from me, I'm sensing it from friends and I'm sensing it from our clients, I'm sensing it from ladies that I've spoken to on discovery calls. I feel like this is the year that so many people are unapologetically going after what they desire and what they want, and they are ready to grab life by the balls. Now that could be because of certain things that might have happened to you in 2024 and previous years. Maybe it's down to the fact that you just feel like you deserve more for yourself, like you want better for yourself. Perhaps some of the content that I've been recording has actually really opened your eyes to that potential that you have and that you can achieve. So here it is. The 2025 comeback, reinventing yourself. How are you going to be the best version of you that has ever existed? Because this is the energy that I'm coming into this year with. There were certain things in 2024 that I had experienced and that I had gone through. Yes, I'm not going to just pretend like everything was a highlight reel and everything was perfect. 2024 was a great year for me, but trust me, I also had certain failures, certain things that did not go well, and certain things where I want to come back better. I want to come back and push harder. And I want to realize my full potential, because there's areas in 2024 where I did not. There's certain areas where maybe I didn't stick to my boundaries. Maybe I didn't quite push myself as hard as I could have. And certain things that taught me lessons in terms of what I deserve and what I want this year. And so I think with how this episode is going to go, you'll have a bit of a framework in terms of what steps you need in order to make sure that this year you don't come to the end of it thinking, oh shit, like I should have done that, or I should have tried harder. Because there may be many of you listening to this thinking in certain areas of 2024 that you should have tried harder. And at least with this framework, you're going to be able to say that you put in 110% effort this year. I'm calling January my no mercy month. So I'm giving myself no mercy. I'm not making any excuses. And if I do make a mistake or I do mess up, I'm going to have a firm conversation with myself, perhaps with some self-compassion if it's truly deserved. But if I'm genuinely sleeping on what I need to get done to get to where I want to be, you best believe, as we're coming into this new year, that we shouldn't be showing ourselves that much mercy unless shit is really tough, right? We're kind of going into the new year with the no excuses, no victim mentality mode, because it just doesn't help ultimately to get to where you want to be. And so talking about no victim mentality, that is step number one, to be honest, of what I'm going to do and what you need to do, which is own your failures. Speak them out loud, make sure that you see them loud and clear, put them right in front of your face and own them. Where did things not go right last year or not go to plan that you wanted to happen? And then why? Did you not hold yourself accountable or not get anyone else to hold you accountable? Did you not set up the systems that you needed to in order to get something to work? Did you not stick to your boundaries? Did you not respect the things that you said you were going to do differently? Why did you fail? Or is it because you actually didn't have the help that you needed? You didn't invest in that support when you should have done. Maybe that would have got you further. So I'm owning my failures going into 2025. And the way that I've done this is I've written a list of all the things that I have achieved that I'm really proud of. I've also written a list of essentially failures or promises that I didn't keep to myself. That's a hard list to write, let me tell you that now. It's a hard list to write, literally in the notes section of my phone. Promises that you did not keep to yourself. However, it fills you with motivation. If you're thinking in the growth mindset, it should fill you with motivation and not shame. Just want to remind you, shame is a completely useless emotion, as is guilt. These emotions do not serve us. It is like pouring petrol on yourself when you're on fire. It just hurts more. What is the point in feeling shame when things already haven't gone to plan? But what you do need to feel is excitement, because you have literally shown yourself the exact reason as to why you haven't achieved what you wanted to, and therefore you can make sure that that mistake doesn't happen again. So you should have alarm bells ringing when you see the trigger or when you see the patterns of certain things cropping up. So let's say, for instance, if you find that, let's say your goal's fat loss. Many of us are trying to lose a few of the Christmas pounds at this time of year. Let's say you notice that after 4-5 days perfectly sticking to your nutrition plan, here comes the weekend, and then because you haven't meal prepped or got any food ready in for the weekend, that you order takeaway. And you do that on the Saturday. And then on a Sunday, you're going out for a social meal, and then you've had a lot of food over the weekend, your scale weight shot back up, and then we're starting fresh from Monday. Okay. You've analysed that things didn't go to plan, but you're ready, recharged, you're like, yes, Monday, I'm going to crush it. You crush it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, again, damn it. We didn't have the food ordered. We didn't have the groceries in. We've ordered takeaway, not meal prep, because otherwise you'd be sticking on plan if you had meal prep. And there we go. The same thing has happened. This is where you call yourself out on your own bullshit, because it's like, my systems are not in place. If I have got the groceries in for the weekend, or if I have already found a nice fake away recipe that I'm going to cook, or if I have already meal prepped food for the weekend in order to stick to my fat loss goals, I would be so much further ahead. This is why I'm talking about January being a bit of a no mercy month. It's owning your failures. And if that's what kept you from losing body fat last year, don't you dare go into this year doing the same thing without changing your systems. And this is something that I've implemented for myself, which is I have looked at all the mistakes that I made that led me to not achieving the goals that I wanted, and then I reverse engineered those mistakes into daily habits. So for me, definitely feel like me trying to stick to a calorie deficit on the days where I'm running and expending a lot of energy, a lot of extra energy. I did a 15-kilometer run this morning. My Garmin told me, and it's not always accurate, but just for a rough estimate, my Garmin told me that I burned 1,000 calories, right? I can't stick to a typical calorie deficit and not expect to feel crazy hungry on this day. So a mistake that I made from last year was trying to do that, and then my hunger ended up creeping up so much that actually I found myself overeating at social occasions. So now we're reverse engineering that, which is my daily habit is I'm going to stick to 1,800 calories every single day for fat loss, but on my run days, I'm going to eat back 50% of the calories, which if you are someone who does endurance sports or is someone who's running for performance as an athlete, eating back some of the calories from the energy that you've expended is a very smart and sensible thing to do. It's not a smart and sensible thing to do if you're just trying to add in cardio in order to lose body fat, okay? I'm talking about performance goals here. So don't get it twisted. If you barely ever do any cardio, don't go eating back your calories. But my point is, I've looked at where I made mistakes, where I didn't quite achieve things last year as fast as I wanted, what I did wrong, and then now I've basically put it into a daily habit. So own those failures. Then the other thing is, we're talking about a comeback, right? Coming back means coming back better, bigger, more impressive, more confident, more sassy than ever. And that requires you to essentially step into a new person. This was really one of my favorite things that I did over the last couple of weeks as I was creating my 2025 vision board, and I was looking into or describing to myself the type of life that I want, but that had to align with the type of person that I want to become. What does that mean? It means that I am going to be morphing into a new identity, right? The exciting thing is that you can literally design this identity. How will you speak? How will you walk? What color is your hair? How do you do your makeup? What clothes do you wear? How do you present yourself in front of people? How do you introduce yourself? When someone says, what do you do? Or what is your job or profession? What do you say? Some people talk down what they do. Some people, let's say their job might be, let's say your job is you're a support carer. You look after those, or a support nurse, you look after those who really need your help physically and mentally. Some people might just say, I'm a support worker. Others will say, I'm a healer, I'm a helper, I'm a person of the people that was put on this earth to transform the lives of others, build confidence into them, build health and wealth into them. You can present yourself however you want, but let me tell you, the way that you speak, the way that you look, the way that you act is who you become. It is who you become. So you might have heard the term fake it until you make it in the past. You, by faking it, aka behaving as someone else with the identity that you aspire to, by you doing that, you literally become that person, right? That's amazing. That is amazing, because the only thing that is on the other end of you becoming who you want to be is taking that action. Let's say, for instance, we're going to rewind to May 2024. I had only been running or trying to run for maybe like 4 or 5 months. And it was something where I found it really challenging. Before that, I only was the fat girl when I was young, trying to run around the block in order to lose weight when I was 16 years old. After 2 minutes, I was gassed. I had this dreadful relationship with running. And I thought, I'm just going to do something crazy. I'm going to put a half marathon medal on my vision board. And at the time, it wasn't even like I really cared for running that much or cared to be competitive at running. But the symbol of me putting that on my vision board was forced evolution, was forced growth. It was almost a reminder in terms of, if you are to run a half marathon, you can't any longer be the 16-year-old fat girl that finds it hard to run around her estate for a couple of minutes. Like, you're going to have to sever ties with that identity. And you're going to have to step into an athlete. You're going to have to step into a badass motherfucker that gets up early 3 times a week to go and run 10 to 20 kilometers. Alas, here we are, right? I put that on my vision board in May 2024. We're now on the 5th of January, and this morning I ran a 15K. I PB'd my 5K. I PB'd my 10K. I PB'd the 15K. And I'm 5 weeks out from a half marathon, which I'm very much so going to try and do sub 2 hours. That is identity shift. That is what you need to do. It's to literally write out in the note section of your phone or in your journal, how do you look? Describe how you look. Your hair color, your eye color, your lip color. There's certain things that if you wanted to, you could change. How you present yourself. What do you find attractive? How do you want to be perceived by people? What type of physique do you want to have? What type of fitness levels do you want to have? What type of body do you have? How do people look at you and think of you? If you weren't in a room, what would people say about you? That's your identity, and you are in full control of it. So you need to start writing down all of the qualities, all of the behaviors, all of the habits of those that you aspire to, or the type of person that you want to be. This task, you can call it traits of the greats, because you can look at so many different people that you aspire to and you can pull from them. And this is what I do a lot in how I write, in the way that I record content, in the way that I show up for myself and my business and my team every single day. So start thinking who you're going to be. Start getting designing. If it means you need to go and buy a new box dye or get yourself booked in at the hairdressers, then do it, because there's something exciting about a novel change as well. kind of like stepping into an alter ego. Maybe if you buy yourself some new clothes, maybe if you present yourself a little bit differently, it means that you carry that essence of that person that you desire to be. And you feel a little bit more like a superhero in that energy. And before you know it, you are them. That is who you are. And then it's about changing like a chameleon over the years to gain different skills, attributes, behaviors that serve you and your long-term life goals, your life vision. This one was kind of thrown in my face earlier this week, this next one, which is burn the backup plan. Everyone deep down has a little voice that's like, but what if you don't do it? What if you don't succeed? You can't. You haven't done this before. You don't even know how you're going to get there. Like, everyone's got that defense mechanism, which is your brain, trying to keep you small. God forbid some of you probably have that in a human form somewhere in your life. And as much as you possibly can do, get rid or put them in a corner and don't listen to them when they say stuff like that. What we need to appreciate is there is no room for not succeeding. There is no room for failing. It's not an option. And the reason why this hit me quite hard this week was because I had a call with one of my mentors. We were talking about my targets, and he said, to be honest, I think you're playing quite small. If you want a vote of confidence, I think you need to try harder. And then I thought, why am I playing small? Why? And it's probably because that voice somewhere deep down whispering is saying, well, let's set this as your goal, because if you don't quite achieve it or if you miss it, then at least, you'll still be happy with where you're at. And again, to those of you who know, I love my Stoic philosophy. I love the idea of being satisfied with what you have and grateful for what you've got, but I don't like the idea of that keeping you small. It's not that you want more for reasons that are egotistical, power-driven. It's that you want more from a place of abundance. So you're not wanting more from a place of lack. Some people are incredibly insecure. They'll be incredibly materialistic and show off all these things that they have to everyone in order to try and get validation. Or we know that person that acts a little bit differently in a friendship group. Because why? They're probably trying to get some type of attention and validation. I'm not talking about coming from a place of lack. I'm not talking about the girls will get on a discovery call with me, much less now, but in the past this used to happen a lot, and they'd say, I want to lose body fat in order to. And it would be so that my boyfriend doesn't keep making comments about me. And quite honestly, that boyfriend should not have been the boyfriend, right? So it's not a place of lack and not feeling not good enough, but it's coming from a place of abundance, wanting for more. Why do you want to get promoted? Well, because it's your duty as a family member, as a partner, to whoever you have in your life, to whoever is there relying on you, to do the best that you can whilst you're on this planet in order to support yourself and them. Because why not aim for more safety and security? Because you never know what's going to happen. Why not aim for more life experiences? That's why you want a promotion. That's why you need to go and work hard to get it. Not because you don't feel good enough, but because you are desperate to get the most out of life and to have the most safety and security. So we're not going to take the Stoic philosophy of, just be happy with what you've got and otherwise you won't be stressed. But we're going to take it with, I'm incredibly grateful for where I'm at, but I know without a shadow of a doubt that I am destined for more and that I can achieve more and that I will achieve more. So fuck the backup plan. Fuck thinking that I'm going to be in the same position in a year's time and that I'll be okay with it because things aren't that bad right now. That energy needs to leave the room. It needs to leave. There is no backup plan. Failure is not an option. You must ensure that you succeed. If you are a busy, career-driven woman and you know that your inability to lose the body fat that you want to lose is stopping you from living a confident, successful life, then hear me out. We have just launched our Fat Loss Accelerator program, which is made specifically for women who are constrained for time, yet they want to lose anywhere between 10 to 25 pounds of body weight within 90 days. Throughout this process, we're also going to teach you exactly what you need to know so that you can maintain this result forever. That it's the lifestyle changes and the habits that you need to implement for the rest of your life to finally become that confident and successful woman who excels in all areas of her life. So if you're interested in finding out more about our Fat Loss Accelerator program, then send me a message on Instagram. Send me the words Fat Loss Accelerator. My Instagram is millie@teamcbm. The link is in description below, and I will get back to you with all the information that you need to know. Back to the episode. And right now as I'm speaking, I bet there's something niggling at you. There's something niggling at you where you're like, I really need to do that thing in order to succeed. Or I really need to reach out to that person to succeed. That is you feeling okay because there's a backup plan. Because if there was no backup plan and there was no safety net and failure was not an option, you already would have reached out to those people, you already would have done that thing. So as soon as you've listened to this podcast, as soon as it's finished, don't know if you're out on a walk, if you're driving, maybe you're training, whatever you're doing, maybe you're watching me on YouTube, hello, please subscribe. What I want you to do is I want you to make sure that that 30-second task, whatever it might be, that is going to propel you forward, that you go and do it. Just some examples of 30-second tasks that I have done over the last 2 or 3 months that have propelled me forwards and really held me accountable to my goals. I have booked the half marathon. That's one thing that in an instance I just did, and I was like, you need to do this in order to XYZ, achieve what you said that you were going to do. So that took me 30 seconds. I booked in for a call with a financial advisor because I know that I need to do better at managing my finances and managing my assets. So for for a sake of accountability, I reached out to them. This only takes 30 seconds to do these things, to set up a savings pot for your holiday, whatever you want. But these small actions are evidence of you burning that backup plan and ensuring that you move forwards. Where we can derive a little bit more strength from is by looking at what quality traits we have that basically mean we're destined to succeed. So one thing that I like to do when I'm speaking to women who feel a little bit of a lack of self-belief in order for them to achieve their goals is I'll say, can you give me an example at some times in life where things got really tough, but you made it work anyway? So many of the women that listen to this podcast, and men, hello, so many of you guys are high achievers, like very, very, very hard workers. And you have to grind in so many different aspects of your career or to get yourself to that next position of life because you really, really wanted to. And if you've become successful in your career, successful in your studies, you can translate that over to anything else. You can translate that over to a fitness journey. You know that there are certain quality traits that you have that mean you're a badass motherfucker. And it might be that you're incredibly resilient. Every single time you've got knocked down, you got up and you kept fighting. Maybe it's the fact that you are incredibly reliable. Anyone who needs anything knows that you will get it done because you do what you say you're going to do. Perhaps you are just an optimist, a really happy, positive person who sees the light even in the darkest times. Whatever your strengths are, lean into them hard. Let's say you're incredibly resilient. That means, okay, maybe on this fat loss journey, I might fall off consistency 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. Maybe it will even happen once a month for this whole year. But if I'm resilient and I trust in my desire for my goal, will I get back and continue it? And then in 12 months' time, be a completely different person because I just kept going because I knew that resilience was my strength? Absolutely. And even if the journey is going to be challenging, if you're an optimist, you will see the positives, the silver linings, the lessons in everything throughout your journey, even when you make mistakes, even when things don't go to plan, because ultimately that will happen. That's life. C'est la vie. But you will certainly succeed. And you'll succeed probably in a way that's a little bit more fun than what other people experience to those who are pessimists or realists and see the struggle in everything. So just as you play to your strengths, now for your comeback in 2025, you need to know your weaknesses. You need to know your weaknesses. If you are competing against someone in a sport, in a game or something, maybe there's a promotion and there's only 2 of you up for it, what would you need to know about that other candidate or about that other athlete. You need to know where they're weak so that you can outshine that, so that you can get better than they are and be an all-rounder. So where are you lacking? Maybe you're lacking some of the other things that I just spoke about. Perhaps you are a bit of a pessimist. Perhaps you are someone that sees life through a really negative lens, and you're always coming from a place of feeling like a victim, or that everything's really hard, or that it's difficult to change, or maybe you're not good enough. Guess what, honey? Guess what? That sounds like you. You are literally keeping yourself stuck until you control, alt, delete that mindset. I despise the victim mentality. And it's not because I don't have one, but it's because it is like a magnet to keeping you stuck. So the sooner that you can obliterate that negative, pessimistic mindset and just be goddamn grateful for the fact that you're here on this planet and you have an opportunity to get the most out of life, and you need to work hard for it, and you need to delve into self-development books, get a therapist, listen to podcasts in terms of how to become a more growth-minded person, everything will change for you and you will finally achieve the goals that you truly desire. Your weakness could be so strong that until you obliterate that weakness, your goals will forever just remain a dream. I want you to get really serious about what parts of you do you need to kill in order for you to become that new identity that we've been speaking about, that new version of you. So what areas do you feel are holding you back? And in case you're finding the thought process of this maybe a little bit challenging, here's something very simple that you can go and do. You can literally go into ChatGPT and you can say, give me quality traits of amazing employees and give me quality traits of terrible employees. And then all of the great traits will come up, and then all of the negative ones will, in terms of largely mindset. Some of them might be, a great employee is punctual and is on time. And then if you actually feel like that really stands out to you, how much of your life is being lived in chaos because you can't manage your time properly? And because you can't manage your time, you don't get to the gym, you don't meal prep, you don't get your steps done. That then is one of your weaknesses, time management skills. So what do you need to go and do? Study it. Study the shit out of it. Get someone to hold you accountable. Get someone to sit down with you and create your routine. Get someone who knows more than you to help. So knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses and really seeing what strengths am I going to lean into? What strengths do I need to lean on? What parts of me are allowing me to be destined for greatness? And then what parts of me do I need to kill and obliterate? And who can help me with that? This is something that I really spent a lot of time doing last year, was outlining those parts of myself that I did not like, and then finding a mentor that can help me to change my perspective. And I will be honest with you, right? You guys know that as you're developing, I'm also developing, and I'm happy to share that with you. One of my realizations over the last few weeks was I have a desire for maintaining great well-being, great mental health, good work-life balance, but my goals as an athlete, as a business owner, don't really align with this ideology of work-life balance and of things being really nice and fluffy and fairy all the time. They don't, right? They don't. Because for me to show up and do the things I want to do and achieve the goals that I've set for myself, it means I need to work harder than 95% of people. It means I need to do more. It means my day, I need to work really bloody efficiently, because to be able to help as many women as we want to create as much content as we want to be able to be the athlete that I want to, it's so much time. It's so much time. And I was striving to convince myself that I want this life of balance, of, nice chilled Sunday mornings and being able to do my 90 minute to 2 hour morning routine. And then I want to be able to, switch off at 6 p.m. I was like, honey, your life is not designed like that. And it can't be designed like that in order to get to where you want to be. So having an honest conversation with myself about what it truly takes to get to where I want to be, and then seeing, what do I want more? Do I want the idea of everything being fine and dandy all the time? Or do I want to accept that I might have to compromise on some things that allow me to live a life of comfort, to be honest, in order to show up and fulfill my purpose? And to me, fulfilling my purpose and working really fucking hard and helping as many people as possible means way more to me than being able to have a Sunday off, because today is a Sunday. And since I woke up this morning, I've either been training or working. And it feels amazing to have actually been productive. So when I rest, I'll feel like that rest is worth it because I really have earned it. So those parts of your identity or your thought processes that you need to change and your weaknesses, call yourself out on those. Keep that list close by and then assess at different points, maybe at your monthly or quarterly review, assess, are you getting closer to abolishing those weaknesses for good? We often get to this point of the year where it feels like a fresh slate and we've looked at our identity, we've looked at all these different parts of our lives that we want to set goals in: fitness, career, family, relationships, whatever it might be. And then it's like, okay, so I need to track my food, I need to get to the gym 4 times a week, I need to stick to this wake and sleep routine, I need to commit this amount of time to my relationship and this amount of time to my friendship, and then I need to submit this application for this job role. And before we know it, we're like frozen, paralyzed by perhaps what sheer quantity of new systems and habits and routines and tasks we're installing into our life. Oh my gosh, where do I even begin? And then you just don't do anything. Right? So, rocks versus pebbles versus sand. What is the most meaningful thing that you need to do in order to get to where you want to be? And also, out of what you want to achieve, what is the priority for this point in time? What is the priority for this month or for this quarter? I know, let's say, how many women we want to help in 2025. I know how much content I want to record, how many podcast episodes, how many YouTube videos. I know what I want to achieve as an athlete. I know that for the whole year, but when I boil it down to for this month, right here, right now, what actually needs to get done? Okay, that chunks it down. That makes it a little bit simpler. What does that look like in terms of daily habits? That's when we're taking our big rocks of exactly what needs to get done this month or this quarter, and then we chunk it down into a system that is automated, you know, your daily habits, in order to achieve those goals. Then the smaller things, the sand. It might be like planting the seeds of something that you want to do later on in the year, right? Maybe you've got a goal or an event or an opportunity that you know will be toward the end of the year, but you need to develop and change and improve in order to fulfill that. But it's not a right here, right now main priority. So you can start to plant the seeds in order for that to be something that you achieve. I'll give you an example. For me, a long-term goal for this year would be to look to invest into property in Dubai. So I could just sit on it and think about it, or I could just do a little bit of research and commit a small portion and fraction of my time into it. So what did I do? I had a coffee with my good friend Emma, who works in real estate here. And she told me everything that I needed to know. She showed me the ropes. I'm like, great. I've already got more clarity and information in terms of what I'm going to need to figure out later on this year. But that's sand. It's not the big rocks. It's not the pebbles. It is the small stuff that falls towards the bottom of the list of tasks that need to get done. But what we want to do is we want to kind of tunnel vision ourselves into looking at 3 priorities, I would say. So right here, right now, what are my 3 priorities? My priorities are, number 1, I need to smash this half marathon. Number 2, there's a certain amount of clients that I would love to come to join us at Team CBM to start their 2025 transformation. And so I had that target number in mind. And on top of that, I've also got a big personal trip that I want to plan and that I need to kind of get planned and booked for a couple of months' time. So those 3 things I have reverse engineered into daily habits. What does that look like in terms of saving money? What does my nutrition and my training look like? What does it look like in terms of my marketing and my advertising? And what do I need to do? So, okay, on Instagram, every single day, post a story to say that we have coaching spaces available. Post something that's going to be informative for our audience. Then transfer X amount of money or make sure that you're checking on these investments or this and that so that you can book this trip. And then making sure that my nutrition, that I stick to my calories, that I stick to my training every single day. So you can see how I've taken my big rocks We're not trying to do everything at once. But for January, what needs to get done? This needs to get done. Great. And we're going to reverse engineer breaking that down into some habits, which is technically breaking those big rocks into pebbles. And then anything else which isn't urgent falls through the cracks. That's the sand. And that might be things that we're looking at later on in the year. But don't forget about it. Don't forget about it. Because as I just said, if I forgot about the little things that I could do in my spare time, such as have that conversation with my friend Emma about property investment, if I didn't have that conversation with her, then it would get to halfway through the year and I wouldn't actually have found out any information. And then I would be like, oh, okay, well, I've got XYZ work to do. Whereas fortunately now I already know I've got XYZ work to do because I still took it upon myself when I had spare time to do that. This is the thing. We want to make sure that the sand, the non-urgent tasks fall within that free time, within a little bit more relaxed time, okay? But we can't bargain or postpone the really important shit, which is our rocks and our pebbles. So just making sure that you've got clarity of focus and where you're putting that time, energy, investing yourself is particularly important. This is going to be so not approved by many of the self-help gurus on Instagram, on YouTube. But there are some, like me, that will use this. And maybe if you guys are listening to me, you'll actually think, you know what, I can get down with that. That makes sense. Those who are incredibly self-compassionate, very much so, don't ever speak to yourself negatively, won't agree with this. So maybe some of you will agree, maybe some of you won't, but I'm going to say it anyway. Leverage your pain. Feel your pain, lean into it. How does it feel to not be in the shape that you want to be? How does it feel when you're pulling your jeans over your belly, you're struggling to do up the button, you're trying to zip your jeans up, but a little bit of skin gets caught in the jeans because your belly is overflowing? How does it feel when you're doing your makeup in the morning, you're looking at your face, you look all puffy, you look wrinkly, you look tired? How does it feel when you sit on a plane seat and you feel like your body is just pouring out to the sides and you're trying to, scoot in to get comfortable and it feels like you're being squished? It feels awful. And don't get it twisted, right? The reason why I can say all of that is because I've been there when I was 50 pounds heavier than I am now. I've done the work. I've done that transformation. I've gone from struggling to fit into a plane seat, from hating how my face looks, from constantly having my belly overhang on anything that wasn't high-waisted. I know. How does that feel? And then how would it feel if you cast your mind a year into the future and you still felt exactly the same way, if not worse? I'm just going to give a second for you to think about what is the main thing causing you pain right now. What's causing you to feel stressed? What's causing you to feel overwhelmed? What's causing you to feel not good enough? What you're embarrassed about, what you're ashamed about, what you're worried about, what's keeping you up at night. That is something most likely, unless it truly, truly, truly is completely out of your control. But that is something that you have the opportunity to change. Or you can change your perception to it if it is something that you cannot control. I've been there, where there's been things that have been keeping me up at night, stressed, overwhelmed, that I have had no control over. We're talking about sick family members. We're talking about other people's erratic behavior. Oh, trust me when I say there's been so many things in my life where I have not had an influence over it. But my perception of that situation and the support that I had in that situation and how I reframed my thinking around what was going on, I did have influence over. But even if we're talking about something which you fully have influence over, your body composition, how you're showing up for yourself each day with your relationships, if you are not happy and you are dissatisfied, change. Do better. Lean into that pain. How does it feel when you look at a picture of yourself and you're like, fuck, I look so fat? You can change that. You can get to the point where you look at a picture of yourself and you're like, oh my God, is that me? Is that how I look? And the reason why I say this is because We've had so many clients that have gone through that process, and I've gone through that process myself. There was a time in life where I'd run away from a camera. Now a camera comes out, I look at the picture and I'm like, shit, like, damn, I look good. I didn't think I looked like that. It is possible. But you've got to lean into that pain and use that pain as motivation. And you know what's really funny is that there's a lot of people that don't lean into pain, they shy away from it, right? And because they shy away from it, the pain of staying the same never gets greater than the pain of changing. Because of course it's painful to change. It's painful to drink less alcohol, to go to bed on time, to make sure that you're meal prepping, to not say yes to everything all the time. Of course that's painful. It's not fun, but it's less painful than being completely disgusted by yourself and your health being in danger. However, some people that don't look at the pain, they don't look at the pictures of themselves, they don't look at themselves in the mirror, they don't actually go to the doctors about the health complications that they're experiencing, or they don't even take a moment to notice how out of breath they are when they get to the top of a small flight of stairs. Those people that are ignoring the pain, they'll never be in enough pain to change. Whereas if you lean into the pain and you're like, it is actually disgusting how exhausted I feel all the time, how erratic my behavior is and my life is and my mood swings are because I'm just not looking after myself, not fueling myself properly, not caring about myself. If you then take a moment to be like, I don't want this for me, because I wouldn't want it for my friend or for someone that I love, then you will change. So leverage that pain. Perhaps spend a little bit of time writing about what pain you're experiencing right now and why you don't want that for yourself anymore. And even better, what a life without that pain would feel like. Because when you embody that, oh my goodness, it feels magical. This is more so the manifestation, the visualization that I talk about very often. But something that's a little bit more motivating for some people can be leveraging the pain. On a positive note, tracking your wins is something that can feel so liberating. There's a few wins that I have had, and this is what I did. You can use this framework if you'd like, which is to write a list, which is, I am proud that I have achieved this in the last year. And then I wrote my list. I'm proud that I hit my goal of traveling to 4 new destinations. I'm proud that I was able to build the team of Team CBM to be just the most incredible women who we are so lucky to have. I am so lucky to have. The clients and myself are so lucky to have. So I wrote a lot of these things that I was proud about. And I realized, I was like, hold on a second. I remember when I was so stressed about so many of these things. Some of them I won't name because they are quite personal, but it felt sensational to be able to write down all of those achievements, all of the things that I have eliminated from my life if they were negative, or all of the new skills and opportunities that I'd brought into my life that ultimately changed it for the better, forever. So by tracking those wins consistently throughout the year, this is what I regret not doing. I just kind of said, 2024, these are the things that I hope I achieve. And I never reflected and went back. But by doing that proactively this year in 2025, you really are assessing, are you coming back better, stronger than ever? I'm getting a bit emotional thinking about it because the next 12 months, you have the opportunity to completely reinvent yourself, to become a new person that you never dreamed of being. And it's quite simple. Who do you need to be in order to get to where you want? What weaknesses do you need to obliterate and what strengths do you need to lean on? Burn the goddamn backup plan and lean into the pain of not being where you want to be. But throughout the year, meticulously track your wins and the things that have gone amazingly well for you. And if you fail, own the failure, learn from it, implement positively moving forwards. And I promise you, you will be genuinely just a happier, healthier, more confident human who truly has an essence and excitement for living the life that you have created, because it is so worth living. There's so much opportunity and magic in it. I hope that you have found this episode helpful. And if you have done, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. That's all I ask. That's all I'm trying to do this year. This personal goal of mine is to reach as many people as I can that can really benefit from this content. So please share it, whether that's on your stories, with a loved one. If it is on your stories, please tag me. I'll give you a bit of a repost. And do drop a rating if you found it helpful on either YouTube or Spotify. Thank you for tuning in. Wishing you the most incredible 2025. And if you're listening to me, I know that you're going to crush it. And I can't wait for you to tell me everything that you achieved at the end of the year. Much love, guys. Catch you in the next one.